Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Welcome or welcome back, whichever the case may be. For those of you that I haven't met, I'm Terrence McFarland, CEO of LA Stage Alliance, and welcome to the final session of LA Stage Day 2014. That's me. This last session is our Let's Inspire session, and we've invited 3 provocative speakers to share some thoughts with you. And without any further ado, I'm going to introduce Joy Meads from Center Theater Group to kick us off.
They're just switching the slides over, everyone. Hi, guys. I'll just start by saying my name is Joy Meads, and I work at Center Theater Group. I'm the Literary Associate and Artistic Engagement Strategist there. But today I'm going to start out by giving what is definitely a personal manifesto. It's a lot of my own very strong opinions about things. And then I'm going to morph into talking a little bit about some of the stuff that we're doing at CTG in the context of those very strong opinions. So I'm going to be talking about some of our changing understanding of our relationship with our audience. And I think we've heard a lot about this in the field, mostly in the realm of marketing strategies, of things that we need to do in order to stay current, to stay profitable, to keep an audience going. I'm going to talk about it more in the realm of kind of a moral imperative, okay? So here we go. My name is Joy, hello, and this is, it went away. Okay, I started out the way I bet a lot of you did, which is I was a massive dorky weirdo in high school, and I found a home in the theater, okay? You people, you wonderful, bizarre, inspired crew of eccentrics and misfits, you guys are my tribe. We are an eclectic group, but through the theater, through the strange magic of the theater, all of these different people, these weirdos, these eccentrics, we come together and we connect deeply and we understand each other and we feel like we belong in that shared space. That's the strange magic of our form. So, high school, I fell in love with theater. There was no turning back. Since then, I've basically seen 1 to 2 plays a week for my entire adult life. I love seeing plays. And I don't want to brag, but I am an excellent audience member, okay? I am right there in the experience of the play. I am leaning forward. I am drinking in every word. I'm going on the journey. I react, you guys. I gasp, I cry, I laugh, okay? And in the interest of full disclosure, I'm going to tell you that I have kind of a loud laugh, just something I was born with, okay? Before I go to the next part, I want to start by giving 3 disclaimers. I want to tell you that when I react when I'm seeing a piece of theater, it's never inappropriate. It's never like, Linda Loman's graveside speech, attention must be paid, and I'm like, ha! No, it's not like that. I'm with the experience, always appropriate. My reactions are instinctual. I can control them, but it takes a lot of concentration and it distracts me from the experience of the play, okay? And I really am the world's best audience members. Like my artist friends, they ask me to come to press nights. I'm that good, okay? But there's this weird thing that happens to me sometimes with some regularity when I go to see plays. Probably a few times a year. I'll be sitting in an audience, enjoying a play, and somebody in that audience will turn around and start giving me the stink eye every time I laugh. Or maybe they'll start kicking me on the back of the chair if I gasp, right? Or if I saw Electra and I gasped at the end of that, chick whipped her head around so fast I thought she was going to give herself permanent spine damage, okay? These things happen. And sometimes I will go up to those people at intermission or afterwards and just say hey, I noticed that you were looking at me a lot. Could you tell me why? Craziest thing has been said to me. I have been told on more than one occasion that I don't know how to behave in a theater, right? That's crazy. okay? Again, I've been going to see 1 to 2 plays a week for all of my adult life. My artist friends love me in the theater. The last time I was told that I didn't know how to see a play, it was when I was the literary manager of Steppenwolf Theater Company, and I told them that, okay? Now, I don't believe this thing that happens, I don't actually think it's because I'm being noisy or distracting, because those very same people, those glarers, those laugh shamers, those same people will actually whisper to each other during the performance in the world's loudest whisper, which is something that I would never do. I actually think that these people are telling me that I don't belong because we're in the middle of actually pretty radical transformation in our understanding of what it means to go see theater. And we got 2 cultures butting up against each other right in that moment. In 2008, there's this group called ArtsWave in Cincinnati, and they conducted a year-long research project on the public's belief about the value of art in society. Okay, they talked to all kinds of people. They published a report out of it called The Arts Ripple Effect. And it is fantastic, you guys. If you are a white paper dork like me, I totally recommend downloading it, okay? So the report talks about the fact that there is a dominant narrative that we've traditionally used to explain the value of the arts, right? This idea of high culture. This is how they say it. The arts have a unique ability to lift individuals and communities to higher and better state, okay? And there are 2 aspects of that narrative that are deeply intertwined and kind of problematically hard to tease apart. One of them is spiritual, right? In the first, it's that theater is a place where you receive a sacred experience that elevates you to a higher plane. You're literally refined, right? It's a place of communion and connection and reflection, right? But that idea is tangled up with a second narrative that's problematic, I think, and that's one of class identity or aspiration. In that narrative, being culture or being refined is a marker that you're a member of the elite, right? It's something that you can wear to say, yes, I am a cultured person, I am a member of the upper middle class or upper class, right? Now, that was never, just to be clear, this has never been the only narrative of the value of the arts, but this narrative was one, this narrative of high culture, of art as something that elevates us, is something that was so powerful that it has really inscribed itself on the culture and architecture of many, though certainly not all, theaters. You can literally see it in the designs of the theaters and in our rituals, right? And I think this culture of theater as a force that elevates us, that's why people glare at me when I'm laughing during a play, okay? And in my more generous moments, I can interpret it and say that that I'm disrupting this aura, the aura of the sacred around the event, right? That these people have come for this aspect of spiritual communion. And I'm loud, I'm kind of drawing them out of themselves. So that's one interpretation. The other interpretation, a little less generous in my angrier moments, is that it's actually a statement of their belief about my perceived class, right? That I'm marking myself as unrefined, as low class, and that hence I don't belong in this elite environment, right? Not classy enough. I believe it's a little bit of both, actually, when I get that reaction, which again is not always. And what I want to say here is that I actually believe that this model of theater, my personal belief, is that model of theater needs to go away, okay? I think that there are some kind of unfortunate moral consequences to the theater as high culture. Theater as a force that elevates us as individuals and as a society model. One of those is that there is, so I believe that theater is a uniquely powerful force of social bonding, right? But I also think it's a blind force. It's one that can be used for good or for bad. So I think when the people on your stage and in the audience reflect more or less the city outside of your theater doors, I think when the play becomes the heart of a dialogue amongst strangers and community, then I think it's a really progressive force. It's a good thing for us. It strengthens the fabric of our community. It promotes understanding and the discovery of shared values that transcend difference. It's wonderful, and I love it, okay? But when the work on stage and the people in your audience reflect an existing elite, when the work is delivered as though from on high to a passive, receptive audience, I actually think that the social bonding that happens is a regressive force. I think that it is one that communicates to the people in the room, to this elite, that they are cultured, refined, and that it reinforces and even maybe justifies unequal privilege. Okay? So, that is the controversial thing I'm going to say. Now, happily for me, actually, that this idea of theater as an elevating force, this class aspirational mode of theater, is on the decline. So when ArtsWave did this research, they found that this narrative had weakened considerably. They said that many individuals no longer embrace the arts as a way of showing that they're moving up. The opera and so forth are simply niche tastes, things that some people happen to enjoy. In today's more democratic, inclusive, and culturally diverse environment, the elevation narrative is basically irrelevant. Now that is a huge statement for a lot of theaters, and particularly a lot of larger institutional theaters that have built a lot of infrastructure around, this narrative of theater as a force that elevates us. But there's good news, which is that ArtsWave found that there was another message that was very effective, and it's one that I really believe deeply in. So this message is about the ripple effects that the arts create. They say a thriving arts sector creates ripple effects of benefits throughout our community. One of those effects is that it leads to a more connected population. Diverse groups share common experiences, they hear new perspectives, they understand each other, etc. I believe so strongly in this. I could be a missionary. I could evangelize across the world. I could martyr myself at the stake almost for this. I really believe this to be true. I think that the performing arts' power to foster community and connectedness from strangers in society is increasingly rare and ever more valuable in our fractured culture. It's our competitive advantage as a form. I think theater in its essence is an exchange between actors and audience, between the community gathered in the room for that night only. And this is the thing that sets us apart. This is the thing that makes it worth leaving your home and your cozy live stream of Mad Men on your TV, and suffering the inconvenience and the expense of a night at the theater. I think our audiences want our theaters to be electric with the energy of curiosity, imagination, inquiry, and conversation. It should be a place where audience, artists, and staff all join together in imaginative, aesthetic, spiritual, intellectual exploration of ideas and questions most relevant to us as individuals and as a society, where we come to better understand each other across our many differences. It can be a place where we become a catalyst for civic conversation, a rare and valuable space for us to discuss questions and concerns that affect us all within an atmosphere of mutual respect. So I think we need to question the strange etiquette that suggests that the audience ought to pretend as though they don't exist. I think we need to create a culture where our patrons are embraced as active conversation partners instead of passive consumers, where they have the opportunity to connect deeply to each other, and where exchange of diverse viewpoints is encouraged and rewarded. So, about 2.5 years ago, I came to work at CTG, and I think CTG is in a really interesting place, as a lot of theaters around this country are, where we have literally the infrastructure from that older model of theater. That's literally the design of our theater. So if you look, we're on Dorothy Chandler Pavilion, the Music Center Plaza. It's actually elevated off of the level of the street, right? It's a temple to the arts, And I think, in an age where people felt as though theater were the only place where they could get that kind of intelligent entertainment, intelligent storytelling, that had some power. But it's not anymore. We're in an age where theater has never been better. TV has never been better, right? There's a lot of places to go for intelligent conversation. Our theater is much more fractured in viewpoint, and we've come to recognize and celebrate diversity much more. We can still work on that, but we're getting there. So what we're doing is we are experimenting at CTG with ways that we can, through our programming, create this robust dialogue within the physical metaphor of our space, right? Our test lab has been the Kirk Douglas Theater. So we've started there, and we've started to branch out into the Tabor and the Amundsen. The Kirk Douglas is an easier theater because we just have a great lobby space, right? And I want to talk about a few things that we're doing really quickly, which is to encourage connection and conversation. So one of the things that we're doing is we create a lobby experience for each play. It's a way of making manifest the conversation between and among artist and audience that's at the heart of our form. So for each production, we have a participatory lobby experience. It's a series of interactive activities and crowdsourced installations designed to open up points of entry to the art, to promote self-expression, and to deepen our patrons' connection to the work and to each other. We try and create a lobby experience that allows every audience member to participate in a way that feels comfortable to them without intruding on the experience of non-participants. So basically, we're not going to get in your face if this is not the theater experience you want to have. It's an opt-in thing, but we have all of these things that you can kind of discover around the theater. And what I want to say is that these actually don't have to be elaborate. I think the most important thing that you need to do is really think very deeply about the way that the play makes meaning. What is the experience that the play is asking the audience to have? And then find ways to amplify that impact and provide points of connection for the audience that are deeply connected and that have a deep organic connection to the tone, style, and intent of the play itself. A lot of these we have what we call a write and post wall, right? Where we'll come up with a question that we ask people to respond to, and they'll just post their responses. So this is for the Nether, and the question is, nobody knows I dream about, and everybody's writing their responses. And so before you see the play, you can kind of see, you can answer the question yourself, you can think about it, you can see what other people have done. And it's a way of evening the playing field, right? Of letting the audience be expert, of making manifest that conversation, and making sure that we're not just delivering content to a passive receivers, but they're actually talking back to us and to each other. And there's a bunch of different things that we do each time. Oops. You'll see some pictures of them, but I won't go into detail. I'd love to talk to you about it afterwards, probably longer than you would like me to, but I'm going to move on now. Oh my God, sorry. So, the other thing that we do is we have started to really systematize a culture of lively discussion. And what I want to say, what this is not at our theater, by and large, it is not the artist standing on stage or an expert standing on stage and answering questions from the audience. What we really try and do is create situations where the audience is in conversation with each other, moderated, but and they go on a kind of a collective experience of meaning making. We create that space. So at the Douglas, we have a talk back after every performance of every play. We just started doing something at the Amundsen in a pilot project where we're doing the same for certain performances of Porgy and Bess in the house. And just one really important thing about our approach to this is that we try and make sure that the only experience you need to join in the conversation is the experience of the play that you all just shared, right? So we encourage everybody to feel the expertise of their own life experience and to make meaning together. We've also started, we are just in, the very beginning stages of something we're calling community and creators, as creators. And basically what this is we're experimenting with ways to just try and foster and create space for the creativity of our audience. So creating a larger ecosystem of creativity, right? With always the work on our theaters at its core, but that recognizes the creativity inherent in everyone. So the thing that we are already doing right now is we have started to open up our shop, our costume and prop shop in Boyle Heights when it's not being used, as a space for community art-making workshop and events. And upcoming, we're just in the very beginning planning stages of a couple of community-created plays, actually, art performance projects, where we're going to have artists and community creating work together. So we're just at the very beginning of the stage of that. Anyway, all this just to say that I really believe that actually this work, this model theater where we come together and we're able to ask questions that are larger than any one of us. We can hear other people's perspectives, and we can grow from them. We can share our own. I actually literally believe that this can change the world. I believe, Maxine Greene, who has the enviable title of philosopher in residence at the Lincoln Center Institute, she talks about the capacity that theater has, and she calls it aesthetic education, but the potential that it has to allow us to question the fixed and the taken for granted, to open up a window onto the possible, and to imagine new ways of being. So we should do this because it's the way that the culture is moving. We have to do it because it's, economically sustainable, but really we should do it because it's our role in the world and it's important. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Joy.